It. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Hey, what is up, everyone? My name is Greg Gizmo Zord Parker, and you are listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 165, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I'm joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Ryan TBK Zord Reader, and Mr. Al Packazord Jennington, making his return, filling in for Multi, who is having electrical issues and weird stuff like that. So, thank you, Al. You're a man of many words for filling in here. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about on this week's episode. The first round of BlizzCon tickets have ended just minutes ago, actually. Were you lucky enough? I don't know. Heroes of the Dorm is this weekend. Nexomania is coming here, brothers and sisters. Get ready for Nexomania, brothers. I have never heard TBK laugh like that. Okay, great. A balance patch hits, and we talked the Crucible as well as Deckard in this week's Hero of the Week. But TBK, how are you doing this evening? Good?
I am sorry. I've been actually dealing with computer issues. So if for some reason, like during the episode, it like spazzes out or I just like stop talking, apparently I've been getting these like little micro freezes and stutters. It's really weird and I don't like it and it makes me super sad. But I've been playing a lot of Heroes, so that's good. It sucks sometimes because I'm trying to do something and the game will freeze and then it'll start back up again and everyone will do the, like woo, 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 woo thing real fast and then I'm dead. But
yeah.
I mean, what can do? I did just get some BlizzCon tickets though, so woo!
Excellent. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people have been having issues since the latest Windows update. Mine's been doing weird stuff as well. Probably completely unrelated, but I've been having like sound issues where just, especially in games, specifically the music cuts out and gets really choppy at some points. And then my mouse has been like tracking really weird. And then like, it'll just get random inputs. Like I'll be playing games and an ability will cast or switch weapons and stuff. So I don't know what's happening.
Weird. I don't like it, but it's probably a Windows update or NVIDIA driver update or something. But it makes me super sad.
Excellent.
So apologies ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, for myself here, so funny thing happened this last week. I don't even remember why, but on last week's episode that we just recorded, Babymetal got brought up. I don't remember why it got brought up, but it did. And then, what was it, like 2 nights ago, Multi or somebody brought up in our Zord chat that, hey, Babymetal is coming to Kansas City, and they were going to be here the next night, which was last night. So I instantly bought tickets and went to that last night. And that was an experience. Yes. I don't need to get into a whole bunch of stuff, but if you're a Babymetal fan, there's a lot of stuff happening in that scene right now. A lot of controversy is going on with like band members not being there, new ones being there. No one knows what's happening. There's been no official word. It was a really short set. There were some good moments. It was cool to go to, and it was the first stop of their 2018 World Tour, which was neat. But yeah, That was a fun time, and I'm YouTube famous now. But that's neither here nor there. Just gaming. This is a gaming podcast. What have you been up to? I imagine some Heroes. I know another game you've been playing this past week or two.
I have. I got the itch to play Ark again. I don't know why, but it just every once in a while I hadn't played. A lot of us actually played back when it first released into early access. Back when it was like super rubber bandy, no one knew what they were doing. It was actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
But then, things went on. We did different stuff. So I don't know. I just got the itch, and I found a decent little server cluster. I've been kind of doing that on the side. And that's been a lot of fun. Lots of Heroes. Heroes has been a mixed bag. Like, I've had some of the worst quick match games I've had in a long time. And it's not necessarily a comp thing. It's I'm just got paired with the dude who's trying out Lost Vikings for the first time. Those games never go well.
I haven't seen Lost Vikings in a really long time. Were they free? Were they on the rotation this last week?
I don't know. I didn't check.
It's weird.
But I don't pay attention to Lost Vikings.
If only there was a show that did a free hero rotation and store sales, people would know this stuff. For it.
Maybe we should start doing it. I know we've never done anything like that before. And I know that it doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of value, but maybe.
Yeah. Like, who would do that? It's weird.
Silly.
So easy to look up. So I've been joining you on Ark as well. That has been fun. We've been taming lots of things. And then I've gotten in a little bit of Heroes this last week. In all honesty, I haven't really had a bunch of gaming time this last week. What I've had is just a few games in Heroes in the time on Ark. So, one, I've just been busy with real life stuff, the concert, and then trying to get some stuff together. So, a pretty laid back week for me when it comes to the gaming, but we have some exciting stuff that is coming up in Heroes. So we'll go ahead and actually get on into the news and stuff. But one more thing before we do, we have a couple quick Patron updates. First up, we have Macho King, Eric W., and Stephen J., who have become our newest patrons. Macho King was actually last week, but we didn't have the live show. And he has earned the highly wanted super duper honorary Zord title. You have been deemed worthy of bearing the Zord title. Welcome to the Zord Lords. Macho Zord. Welcome to the Zord Lords, brother. Yeah. I should, is it too late? Is 28 too late to become a wrestler?
No.
Totally gonna do it. I'm way too out of shape. Maybe 6 years ago. And
I think you just need to buy a mask. That's all you need.
I could just grab one of these. I got plenty of them.
Yeah, plenty right behind you.
Because those are totally real, and I could just grab one off that wall. You know?
It's not like you've got a green screen up.
Nope. Not that. Who would do that?
Nope.
I don't know. It's not like I'm streaming on Twitch. What's a green screen? Never heard of it.
Weird.
But thank you so much, Macho Zord, for joining the Zord Lords. We really appreciate it, as well as Eric and Stephen J. I believe one of you has earned a Zord title. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, which I should. But if you would like to message us what you would like your preferred title to be, we will get to that on next week's show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the news. All right, BlizzCon tickets. As we mentioned, a little bit of a late start tonight because the first batch went on sale. And as expected, we're almost instantly sold out. So congrats if you got yours. And if you didn't get yours, don't worry, you'll get your second chance really quick. Actually, this Saturday, they're going to go on sale at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that is Saturday, May 12th. So there's going to be less people trying this time. Probably about, 10,000 less people. So your chances are going up. because who knows how many are actually trying. I don't know. A lot of people, though.
Yeah, don't get your tickets on eBay.
Yes.
People have been already posting screenshots of like $500 and $600 tickets.
Yeah,
on eBay.
Do not do that. I know we've mentioned it a lot on here, but it's worth mentioning every time just to save somebody from doing that. Or Craigslist. I've had friends that have had issues on Craigslist, especially last year. Go to LF BlizzCon, I believe is the website. And they have tickets for face value, people looking for hotel rooms, all that sorts of stuff. So that is probably the most reliable place that you can get a ticket that's not from the sale itself. So go ahead and try that. And also, just another thing, the Zords did it this time. If you have, like, get in a group on, like, a Skype call or in Discord, if you have, say, 3 of you that are going, all 3 of you try and get in. If one person gets in, if they can, have them buy 3 tickets, and then you just PayPal them the money over. That way, not, all 3 of you actually have to make it through the queue. It can speed things up as well. So, good luck. And, if you want to continue weighing down your bandwidth while you're trying to get tickets, because there's something else going on this week.
Ooh.
At the
good
same
segue.
time. Yeah. Heroes of the Dorm. This week, the Heroic 4. Almost said the other title 4 that I'm not supposed to say, because that's another thing. That's not Heroes of the Dorm. So the Heroic 4 is this weekend, again, Saturday, May 12th. May 12th. And that is going to be... No, I'm having internet issues here. Buffalo, CPP, Laval, and Kentucky.
Who are you going for?
I'm gonna go Kentucky.
Yeah,
I know you have Laval, right?
I'm going for Laval, partially because I really like them after I started reading about them and watching little stuff, and then partially because they're the only team left in my Final Four bracket.
The Kentucky Scratch'em. I don't know. It's good to see new faces in this year that we haven't seen before. So,
agreed.
And unfortunately, I really haven't caught as much of dorms. I've caught more dorms this year than I did last year, but not as much as previous years. But it seems like it is going much better than it did last year, and I'm super excited for the finals to be able to check those out.
It's been very high quality production this year. I've been really happy about it. And remember too, if you are going to dorm, I will be there on Saturday. So please come by and say hi, because I'm so excited. The dorm is super fun because it's like BlizzCon, but it's just like a Heroes version of BlizzCon. So if you could, just a few hundred people from the Heroes community. So if you do have a chance to make it down, I think tickets are all
I think they're
gone.
I think they're sold out. I could have sworn I saw somewhere they were going to have more at the door.
Maybe.
But I can't confirm that, but I feel like I have seen that.
But if you are there, come say hi. I would love to say hi.
Yeah. Are you flying in Saturday morning? Are you flying out Friday night?
I'm flying in Friday morning, I believe.
Friday morning? And then are you coming back Saturday night?
I'm coming back Sunday.
Sunday? Okay.
Sunday morning, yeah. I was just like, I don't want to go try and fly back after like who potentially like super late night.
Yeah. But that's a nice little trip down there to get to see some stuff.
It's gonna be short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Short and sweet.
Cool. And again, that will be on Twitch, not Facebook. So make sure and check that out.
Not
Facebook. Make sure and check that out. Again, if you haven't checked out Heroes of the Dorm before, it's a really great event. It's a much different viewing experience than like the HGC, because it is a different level of skill play. There are some great players. We've had players that are in the HGC now, several actually, that have been in Heroes of the Dorm in the past. But it is a really cool tournament to check out. So watch that. Now, the new event maybe type thing that was announced, that we've gotten, it was like 3 miniature little teasers we've got this
Yeah.
week some posters. First we got the Chihuahua with the luchador mask on, and then we got Diablo and Garrosh, and then today was
Sonya Lunara.
Yeah. Which I'm interested. I'm really interested to see what a Lunara wrestler looks like. Like we've seen the top half. What's the bottom half look like? Is it just like
Yeah.
I almost want it to
be curious about that myself.
I almost want it to be like this really weird, like not a deer, a human looking. I guess not really human because humans don't have 4 legs. But I just want like these really like muscular legs with
giant calves.
Yeah, giant calves and some wrestling boots on each foot. And it could get weird. I don't know, but it could be cool. But yeah, I know a lot of people
picture into my head.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are excited about the Diablo. Garrosh makes perfect sense too. I have been wanting a Zul'jin wrestler skin because when he was first announced, I talked about it. I tried drawing a picture. I completely lost my drawing skills. It was awful, but it makes great sense. He could have a mask on, and instead of throwing axes, he throws metal chairs. He could be a great and have a little, belt on. He kind of looks like a wrestler, but throwing the steel chairs. So maybe at some point, maybe in Next Mania 2, we'll get that.
Yeah. Remember, all these things are lore now. So I assume there's a wrestling realm of the Nexus.
Yeah.
It's canon. It's lore. So
and they have said we are going to get all the skins that were teased in the posters. The Chihuahua with the mask is going to be a mount, which that's going to be real weird because that's going to be a real big Chihuahua. Which is going to be cute. Actually, I kind of hope it's not. I hope it's a really small Chihuahua, and people still have to figure out how to ride it.
like the Treasure Goblin?
Yeah, kind of like the Treasure Goblin. Yeah. I want Diablo, big beefy Diablo, with his mask on, riding a masked little Chihuahua.
Maybe since it's like a luchador, he's just going to be like balanced on one foot and just kind of like, tilting from side to side as the Chihuahua walks.
Yeah. Or maybe you're not even actually on the Chihuahua. You just have it on a leash, and it's like running and dragging the person around. Like they got the murky animation of him kind of.
Oh yeah. Through. No, that'd be really cool.
I doubt they would do that animation for every character in the game, because.
And there is more that is being hinted at as well alongside this, because they did confirm a PTR was coming next week. For this Nexomania content, and the rumor is the Diablo and Lunara reworks / changes are coming with that as well. And who knows, maybe even a new brawl, because usually when they do these events, there's some kind of a new brawl. So I don't know what a wrestling brawl would look like, but that would probably be pretty cool.
It needs to be. Like I don't know, because
slamming people into stuff.
Well, they've
like
done
racking up points or something like that.
We've had the dodge brawl and the pole party. They need to do something with. The only two I can think of that would work with is kind of like a Diablo and Garrosh, but to where it's a wrestling ring, and like Garrosh had you have to team up. You got your Diablo that can slam and then position, and then the Garrosh throws him out of the ring, and it's like a Royal Rumble.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun little mini game type thing. I'd like it.
And it'd be great to practice your toss skills on Garrosh.
Yeah.
So, I look forward to it. Wrestling's cool. My biggest concern, I see a lot of people in the chat are thinking the Sonya Kitty wrestling skin looks to be the superior one. I was really excited about a Diablo one. I'm kind of concerned. We'll have to see what it looks like when it gets in game. But
I think Sonya's got a little bit of a skin bias though.
She has a lot of skins right now.
She's got a lot.
She's been getting a ton.
I'm glad Lunara's getting one, and Diablo hasn't gotten a new one since Primeval Diablo. And Josh has not gotten a new one since launch skin.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is good to see Lunara get one. It'll be interesting to see kind of what changes. So PTR will be this next week. And I know one of the things that's going to be going in for Diablo at least is they are adding in the wall lines that we have for Lucio, Hanzo. I don't know who else has them right now.
I think it's just those two.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that should be good. For his charges, because of course there's the quest we're charging people into the wall to stun them. You're stacking that. And they talked a little bit about how, they've been discussing since they put it in with Lucio, obviously needed to go in for Hanzo with how his scatter arrow worked. And there are other heroes they could add this onto, but they just want to be careful of causing way too much clutter on the screen. I think another one people have questions about is, will Ariel get this at some point? Because she has, her ribbon knockback that stuns if it hits terrain.
Yeah, I could see that maybe.
So right now, just going to be Diablo that they're adding it onto, but we'll see potentially what else comes with that. But yeah, we'll see what other changes Diablo and Lunar get as well. I don't know. Do we have any idea? I guess Lunara, this would probably be they've been wanting to make the Wisp stuff more interesting. And
yeah, I think from what I remember from the previous interviews, Lunara is, I'm almost positive, getting a full scale rework.
Okay.
Diablo, I personally don't think Diablo is in that bad a shape, really. He may need some talent tweaks here and there. But I'm hoping his, if anything, is more of a minor rework than anything.
Yeah, because he's gotten a rework in the past. Not. That was
yeah,
a
he
long
has
time
gotten
ago.
he has gotten a rework a while ago. But I think he's in pretty decent shape. He may need some of his lesser picked talents looked at and stuff, but otherwise, I think Lunara probably needs a little more love than he does.
Yeah, that's Lunara's been talked about for a while. I think when I think of Lunara, I always think of going back to the media summit last year. The passionate discussion Dunk Train and Dreadnought had on Lunara for a long time out there about how she's the best hero in the game because, the most powerful. No changes need to be made. But I'd like to see some updated stuff with the Wisp because while her kit is cool and I love the whole, dot system with her, but it feels Raynor, man. It feels Raynor.
Yeah.
And
hopefully we'll see that one sooner rather than later.
Maybe sooner rather than later. We'll get into that here in just a second. Because who knows? Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's here. What? I don't know. There's a balance patch. Just came out today. Does it have Raynor in it? It does not. But it kind of does. And I'm being super cryptic right now. And I'm going to continue to be for a little bit. Because we're not going to talk about him first. But there is a lot of stuff in this balance patch.
A lot.
This
is a big balance patch.
So, again, we're not going to be going in depth on everything. These patch notes will be in the show notes. They're on the launcher. You guys can check them out and dive into them. But there's definitely some stuff worth talking about, worth mentioning in here. The first up is going to be Phoenix. He is getting hit again with both his health and shields being reduced. As well as some of his abilities. So his phase bomb, which is the W switching from the repeater cannon to the phase bomb, the basic attack range bonus has been reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. So just reeling in that range a little bit. And then his warp cooldown has been increased from 15 to 17 seconds, and the range reduced from 11 to 9.
This is a pretty big hit for Phoenix, honestly. It's a lot all at the same time. I mean, I don't know if it's far too early to say if it's too much, but I think they're either pretty dang close or just went a little overboard.
With this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still... I think it's good to finally see the shield is the big thing.
Yes. No, I agree.
Sure.
I think that was one of the biggest problems because he could act like he had almost not quite Hall of Storm's health regen, but it was pretty dang close. I think you could refill your whole shield in about 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. from a sustained perspective, it's pretty crazy. So I think they're wanting to hit that a little bit and make you have to play a little more carefully, which is good. Same for the warp.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be up now,
and it's not going to have quite the range. Still a decent range on it, but and then as well, just I mean, it's super hard to get away from a Phoenix if you're losing a fight, and so that phase bomb range deduction should help out a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this will be a one to watch for sure over the next week or so. What the win rate kind of evens out to. Mm-hmm. I think it's close. I just on paper it seems like they might have gone a little overboard, but
interesting.
It'll be pretty close. Mm-hmm. I think.
But it's it goes to show how. Again, we've talked about his kit and talents and stuff just being great, the design behind them, and that stuff actually not even being touched this go around. It's just a few things of his basic kit, which is cool. Gul'dan getting some changes here, and we can expect some more changes to come on top of this. To start out with, there's been a lot of talk all over the place. I know it's been pretty heavily talked about in our Discord, especially with Reign of Destruction. Just not really being picked ever because the channeling, there's too much RNG in it. And so they have been testing some stuff on that. They said they even tested it, without a channel. It's just a castable ability. But they're wanting to do more testing, and they realize that they're going to need more than just a balance patch to properly address Gul'dan. A clock going off.
It's like the bells toll for Gul'dan.
Weird. I've never heard that during the show before, but it's really loud right now. But they have done some other changes to him here, which actually seem kind of cool. So it's going along with his life drain. Looks like they're trying to bring life drain build up a little bit. At level 1, they removed the Glyph of Drain Life. And then Chaotic Energy, which is a passive, they adjusted the functionality. It's going to increase Drain Life's range by 25%. Regeneration globes are going to restore 50% more health and mana. And then after collecting 20 regen globes, reduce all mana costs by 20. Seems pretty.
That's a pretty
cool.
Significant buff to that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense because it was really hard to take just that alone when you could take either the Fell Flame or the Corruption quests. And so now it's probably, especially if you don't have like dedicated heals, mm-hmm. that could be one to look at for sure.
Well, my first thought on this after this is going to be, he's going to be, I feel like, a much bigger pain than he already is on Brax's holdout in that solo lane. Now that he's having a regen globe quest, and it already has that one that's spawning in top. Plus,
sure. I mean, that's something to think about, right? On mm-hmm. maps that do give more globes than normal. That could be very strong.
So, but that's not the only thing that's getting touched with his Drain Life. At level 4, Health Funnel, they added functionality. Drain Life's cooldown recharges 100% faster while it's active, which I actually never really paid attention to. So a lot of abilities, the cooldown timer doesn't start until after it stops. And I've never paid attention to him, but I guess his cooldown starts as soon as he starts channeling it, instead of after the channel ends. Is that how I'm reading this correctly? And so if you keep it channeled long enough, it's going to be off cooldown super quick.
Yeah,
which is
that's what it looks
cool.
like.
And then at level 7, they removed Devour the Frail, and then Curse of Exhaustion. They added functionality. When Drain Life is cast on an enemy hero who is affected by corruption, it deals 50% increased damage and slows the target by 25%.
That is huge.
It sets up some really cool combo potentials, hitting them with that
huge.
First corruption and then slowing them to where they're either taking more damage from your Drain of Life or they're going to get hit by more of those corruption. So could be pretty neat. And then at level 20, Haunt, armor reduction amount decreased from 25 to 20. So looks like just a little setup there to, one, nerf Haunt, and also possibly make Reign of Destruction more appealing, which is going to take a lot more than just that. So to be brutally honest, I hope it's replaced by a different heroic completely. It's definitely a possibility.
I think I'm not sure if you can really salvage that amount of RNG versus a targeted AoE fear.
Well,
because that's the thing. Like, it's not necessarily Reign of Destruction. It's what Reign of Destruction is up against. And unless you want to nerf the crap out of fear, then I think you either need to take a lot of the RNG out of Reign of Destruction.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about how to do that, whether it's kind of selecting where the comments go, like you do with Alex Straza on her Cleansing Flame. There's a lot of things you can do. I know a lot of people have been wanting like Infernal to drop down to kind of come up. Maybe that's like a Nazebo Gargantuan type thing, but somehow different because you want it to be different. So we'll just keep an eye on that, and who knows? Maybe we'll see this sooner than later. So it sounds like it's something they've already been working on.
Yeah, it that honestly sounded like it might be something within the next major patch or two.
Mm-hmm. So.
And we've got, I guess, technically a major patch coming up next week.
Yeah, with
on PTR. So who knows?
Yeah. Hanzo. This is a short one, but a big one. Basic attack range decreased from 7.5 to 6.5.
Hallelujah.
He can no longer attack towers without taking damage. That's how big that range is. And what else does this do? This is the Raynor rework we've been waiting for, guys. It's hidden, but it's here. Raynor's buffed. I believe, has he gone back to having the longest range now? Or is he still tied with anyone?
Honestly, I haven't played him. Just keep talking. I'll look. That's how long it's been since I played Raynor.
But this is the Raynor rework we've been waiting on. He's back to not having a completely useless trait that doesn't mean anything anymore. Who knows? But confirmed by Kyle Ferguson, it is a buff to Raynor. He won some games with Raynor earlier. But no, it is, in all honesty, it's a really good change to Hanzo. I know there's probably going to be a lot of Hanzo people that are upset about that, but it needed to happen. And then they also reduced the range of his natural agility. That puts it
even.
Even?
That puts it even with him, I think.
Okay. Which, how does a bow shoot as far as a gun? Doesn't make any sense. Needs to be 6.4.
Well, they never know.
Mm-hmm. Needs to be 6.4. But yeah, natural agility decreased from 10 to 9, and then explosive arrows at 4. The area of effect damage reduced from 100% to 75%. So overall, they're just wanting Hanzo to have to put himself in danger here to start getting some of his damage off. Who knows if, what this is going to do. I imagine good things, but if it's too much, they can probably make more tweaks to his trait again. I know they increased the cooldown of that, I think, last time they touched him. So maybe that's something that can get changed back if they find out that this range nerf is too much and he's just getting stomped on. So
yeah, because the basic attack range decrease is huge.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That will be huge for him, but worth it.
Yeah,
needed.
Kael'thas, yeah.
TBK. This is super exciting. We're actually getting like almost a mini rework, but the biggest thing that I want to point out here is a new old level 16 talent. Ignite is back. Ignite was the thing of nightmares early on that allowed Flame Strike to pass on living bombs to everyone, I believe, that was caught within the radius. And so you could have just clusters of people just blowing up all over the place. And don't quote me on that because it's been a really, really long time since Kael had Ignite in the game. But I have vivid memories of like whole teams blowing up to some of his living bomb type talents. Ignite was a big part of that, and it was removed, but they brought it back, and it's at level 16 now. And it's been slightly more balanced. Flame strikes that hit enemy heroes also afflict them with living bomb, but only one living bomb can be applied per flame strike cast. So technically, you could have 3 flame strikes up at the same time now. If you used your trait flame strike, then a mana cost flame strike, and then a flame strike from the, or a living bomb from the flame strike. I just said flame strike that whole time. It's all living bombs.
Okay.
You have 3 living bombs. Sorry.
It's like, what?
Oh
that
my
is
gosh,
a lot.
I just got flame strike on the brain. Yeah. 3 living bombs up at the same time now, which is pretty crazy still, especially if you are taking the spread forever at level 20.
Yeah. So only 1 living bomb can be applied per flame strike cast. So if there's multiple enemies, is it just going to choose at random? Who gets the living bomb?
That's what I'm assuming, because it doesn't say anything else to the.
Surely there's some sort of, I would hope it would be like the lowest health target.
It's possible it could be the closest to the middle proximity of the flame strike too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have to be tested probably.
Yeah. All right. And let's see, Maev here, just getting some health reduction and Vault of Warden's cooldown increase from 12 to 13 seconds. So they've been doing these for pretty gradually and consistently the past, it seems like 3 or 4 balance patches now, to where they're starting some of the mobility stuff, just slowly edging the cooldowns up and I think that's a good way to go about it. Just slight tweaks here, kind of ramping it up to find that sweet spot. Because there's so many heroes with this mobility stuff now that if you just did a overriding sweep, that could drastically change the meta, which might not be a bad thing, but it's a smart way that they're doing it. Thrall, Chain Lightning, damage reduced from 178 to 162. The bounce damage reduced from 89 to 81. And then, of course, Rolling Thunder, level 1, no longer increases Chain Lightning's range and got new functionality. Hitting a marked enemy restores 2.5% of Thrall's maximum health, which could potentially be pretty neat here. And level 4, Frostwolf Pack, quest requirement reduced from 7 to 6 hero hits. So, Tracer, an interesting one here. Recall, Tracer's recall destination is now visible to enemies. So Chromies, get ready, Chromies.
Yeah. So this is kind of it's a nerf that was already there for some people, if that makes sense. Because if you kept track, you could technically tell about the area where the recall would be. But that's a lot of brain work. And so this kind of takes that guesswork out. So overall, it's definitely a nerf to her.
Yeah. It'll be interesting I wonder what it'll look like. If it's going to be something easy enough, because, again, Chromie, Stitches, Garrosh, you're going to have to be really careful with your recalls now. Tracer's I think her skill cap's been going up gradually over these past couple, because again, she's another one. The movement creep, they've been gradually nerfing that, extending cooldowns. Now this is just another thing that you're going to have to be constantly paying attention to your positioning when you're going in and out of team fights, so that you're not going to recall into the middle of a team. It wasn't a huge deal before. Obviously, you still didn't want to do it, but you can recall and then kind of blink out to get away. But now they're going to know. And you will probably pay for it if you do so, because they'll be ready with them stuns. Tychus here, Overkill. Cooldown reduced from 13 to 12 seconds, and the mana cost reduced from 65 to 60. And then a couple level 4 talent changes. Fully loaded has been removed, and the bigger they are got added functionality. Reduces miniguns cooldown by 2 seconds. I haven't seen Tychus in a real long time.
No, he's not super popular right now.
Mm-hmm. Medivh, TBK, have you still been playing Medivh? You've been working on it?
I have been playing him, and guess what? Arcane Explosion was nerfed again. Bonus area of effect damage reduced from 100% to 50% of the damage prevented by force of will. So it finally caught on that, hey, Arcane Explosion was pretty good, especially in the right situations. So that's been nerfed again. Yep. Not super surprised. Maybe some of the other level 7 talents will be a little more viable now.
We shall see. I won't see because I've tried Medivh a couple times. I think I've tapped out on him. I'm real bad. My portals are awful. I'm not even good at playing with Medivh, so if you ever play with me, I will click on portals when I'm not supposed to. I won't click on portals when I am supposed to. It's just a mess. It's a mess. There needs to be an option like in-game to where you can, like they have the click-through map. I need a click-through portal option, Blizzard.
I just want to ignore portals.
I don't want to maybe like make it where I have to alt-click on it. I don't know. But it's bad. A bad time for old Gizmo here. We got a couple support stuff. Ana is getting some changes here. Her trait Shrike is now going to heal Ana for dose damage dealt to all enemies, rather than only the damage dealt to heroes. So that was made. Was that last balance patch or two?
One of the last few balance patches.
Yeah, they made it to where it was damage dealt to heroes to kind of give her some self-sustain here. But they're going ahead and making that.
Well, you used to have to take a talent, and max or get a part of the talent before it started giving you the minion health too. But I assume they just didn't think the health you were getting was enough self-sustain, so now it's just automatically everything.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice. And then healing dart mana cost reduction from 15 to 10. That's pretty big. It's a 33% reduction. And Nano Boost cooldown increase from 60 to 70. A couple talent changes. Level 1, detachable box. The first reward has been removed. I imagine that was the...
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Getting it to where minion damage healed as well. The second reward requirements reduced from 15 to 12. Maximum dosage stacks. And then at level 7, debilitating dart. There are too many D's in her kit. Okay, I can't say them all in a row like that. Come on. Reduced damage duration decreased from 4 to 3 seconds, and then added functionality also slows the target by 50%. So, good stuff there. Ariel, also still early, haven't seen her. She got some changes this last week. She's getting more changes here. TBK, what are we seeing?
The big thing, she did get a few little talent changes here and there. The big thing, though, is her Bestow Hope trait. And the energy stored when Ariel hits non-heroes was increased from 5 to 10% of the damage dealt. So this is a big kind of out of major combat hope generator, pretty much, that'll allow you to fill up that hope bar and help out. We haven't really seen Ariel for quite some time either, just because of... the type of meta we've been in. So it would be nice if we started seeing her again, because she is a fun healer.
Hey, with the Raynor rework hitting, she's coming back. Got that.
Coming back.
Yep.
What's next here? Deckard got a few changes, mainly to his few buffs to his gem talents. His Ruby and Sapphire gem talents. Ancient Blessings, which is the one where you increase people's damage to AoE and got healing as well when you use your trait. That was nerfed a little bit. Bottomless Flask got an extra second added onto it before the potions regen. And Lornado, this one was kind of interesting to me. It got its cooldown reduced from 45 seconds to 40 seconds. That one already felt like it was up most of the time. So I'm not exactly sure why it got a cooldown buff.
Yeah. I maybe they're trying to bring the pick rate up. I know last time I checked, Stay a While and Listen was the much higher
I've had much more success with Lornado.
Yeah, me as well.
Honestly.
But it's
especially on maps that have
tight corridors,
little corridors and stuff. Oh my goodness, Dragonshire! We played a Deckard on Dragonshire just the other night, and we were getting wrecked by good Lornados. Like it was super annoying.
Yeah. So interesting stuff there. I'm glad to see. I always liked the Ruby talent, but the lesser healing potion increase on that's pretty cool. And by 15, that's nothing to shake a stick at, because you can get a lot of potions, little lesser potions there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Hey, why don't you go ahead and take us through the rest of the support, the big support changes here, since you're more the support guy.
Sure. Lily got a few changes. Our level 1 Wind Serpent doesn't reduce Cloud Serpent's cooldown anymore. She got some stuff from her Fast Feet. And then just level 4 and level 16 talents. The big one being Blessing of Yulon. The healing was reduced from 1.5% to 1.25% of the max health. So definitely a healing nerf from your little dragon there. Morales did get a buff nerf. The trauma trigger now at level 4, that got a huge buff because the cooldown, the internal cooldown for it is only 30 seconds now instead of 60 seconds. So that's pretty big time. Unfortunately, the level 16 extended care, and I don't really get this too much because Morales isn't picked right now. Why are we nerfing things other than, yes, extended care, which is the one that allows you to heal from further away. It's extended beam range. The range bonus was reduced from 40 to 30%. I don't know. It was definitely probably the most picked talent in that tier. But I feel like with her just not seeing a whole lot of play right now, you would bring up some of the other talents to kind of compete with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just my opinion. And then, ooh boy, Malfurion and Stukov. You know those two healers that you've seen constantly?
The two healers?
It turns out they're going to get nerfed a little bit. Malf got his health and health regen nerfed a little bit. Moonfire healing was reduced a bit, and Twilight Dream damage was reduced a little bit. So just kind of an across-the-board hit for Malfurion's healing. Stukov also got a nerf to his healing. His bio kill switch trait, the healing got a reduction there, 475 to 435, which is actually pretty decent. And his lurking arm got another 2 seconds added to its cooldown, which means if you take the increased size at level 1 on lurking arm, I think that brings it up to like 14 or 15 seconds now.
Yeah, 15, because that got an additional increase as
well. So yeah, Growing Infestation is definitely not looking near as good.
Ranged auto attacks
after this. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it work really, really well if you have a decent comp for it. Like the slow on it is pretty significant. Not a super huge range, but again, not a lot of people expect it from Stukov. The level 4 one good spread. You may have mana problems again. The mana restoration was reduced from 30 to 10, so it's not a lot of freebie mana anymore. And then it hungers at level 7. You get a little increased mana restoration from 5 to 10. So it's pretty much nerfs across the board for Malf and Stukov. Not that they didn't need it, but they're kind of the only healers we've seen. And I don't know if it's necessarily because they're just that much better than the other ones or because the other ones are just that much worse.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of have to see.
We're still trying to recover from the blanket nerfs that supports got a while back, and things haven't balanced out yet for them. So maybe this will bring things more in line. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a little more variety of supports picked now because of that.
A couple warrior changes here. First off, Garrosh, Groundbreaker, getting some more nerfs here. The stun duration reduced from 0.75 to 0.5 seconds, but the slow amount increased from 35 to 40%. And then Rough Landing at level 16, the bonus slow amount reduced from 15 to 10%. So a little bit more there, which we've been seeing a lot of Garrosh, so makes sense to bring it down just a little bit.
Yes, we have. People have finally gotten good with the toss into the stun, which is kind of the new combo, because it used to be Q to pull the person to you, and then you toss them back. And so now what you do is you toss them and then put off your Q. I think you do Q, then toss, and it goes off right as the person lands.
Huh.
And and it becomes an insta stun. It's not the easiest thing to pull off, but for the pros, I'm sure it's much easier than it is for me.
And then Sonya, just a couple talent stuff at level 4. Hurricane, cooldown reduction increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Shot of Fury moved from level 7 to level 4. And then Battle Rage moved from level 4 to level 7. And Mystic Spear at 13 is getting some new functionality. Ancient Spear always pulls Sonya to the target location, even if it doesn't hit an enemy. When used this way, its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a nice little bonus for that.
Yeah. But again, there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot to digest. So let us know what you think. If some of them were too hard, what do you feel about Phoenix, Hanzo, the Tracer stuff, and supports? What supports are you going to? Are you still sticking with them? Or are you moving on to Ariel? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm still sticking. I've been doing a lot of Stukov. I really do like Stukov's kit quite a bit, and I still think he'll be pretty good. I've been playing a lot of Rhaegar as well, and Rhaegar is kind of nice because he does still have cleanse for one, which a lot of supports don't anymore. And then Karazim is actually quite a bit of fun, and we've been seeing him here and there. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see if he starts ticking up as well.
Yeah. Karazim's one of those ones I really haven't touched in quite a while, but I've been hearing some really good things about him. So Lucio's kind of the only support I play right now, but I may have to check out some old Karazim before too long. Okay, HGC. We had some stuff happen this last weekend, so let's go ahead and hop into that. All right, TBK, Crucible happened. Boy, oh boy, did it happen.
It did happen, and unfortunately for our Crucible teams, we have a perfect 4-0 record from the HGC teams. None of the Crucible teams, unfortunately, made it in this time around from NA or EU. Although King's Gambit versus No Tomorrow made it really close as they brought it down to that last 7th game, but No Tomorrow ended up pulling it out.
No Tomorrow had to win the last 2, right? They
had to win the last 3. I think they were down 3-1 at one point.
Huh. Yeah. So.
Well so it was a reverse sweep in a way. Mm-hmm. So congrats to them. It's a little unfortunate to not see even one Crucible team get through. It's kind of nice to get some new blood in as well. But remember, the release period is going on right now for HGC teams.
Oh boy, is it.
So there's actually, and this is just a small shout out early, Deuce Smiley's got a roster apocalypse thread over Stickied on Reddit. If you want to go check out and see which teams have released official information so far, we're going to see some shakeups, that's for sure. Once the release and the draft and the pickup period ends, I'll try and give a recap on that in the next week or two once things settle a little bit more, and we can kind of see where everyone stands.
Yeah, it's there's definitely been some stuff going on, so it is going to be very interesting to see where everything pans out. But looking forward to that. See if things shake up for phase 2 here leading into BlizzCon. It's always exciting. All right. It's been a while since we've done one of these, I feel like. So, but yeah, we have a Hero of the Week to do, which I guess has been especially long because I think we initially put it off a week, and then it got put off last week because the live show got canceled. So we're going to do it now. Let's go ahead and hop in.
Hero of the Week.
And I'm also instantly reminded how awful that sounder is.
Nope, it's the best.
God, it's so bad.
It's the best.
So bad.
It's probably our best sounder.
No, it's not. It's real bad. Deckard Cain has been in the game 3 weeks now? Is it? No. 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is week 3.
This is week 3. Wow.
Yeah, because last week would have been our normal hero of the week.
Yeah.
Week.
So, yeah, he's here. And I'm sure a lot of you have played him because this is probably one of, if not the most anticipated hero to have entered the game so far. But real quick, we'll go through his stuff just in case you don't know. Trait Fortitude of the Faithful. When at least one other allied hero is nearby, Deckard gains 10 armor, and his basic attack ability is recharge 50% faster. His Q is Healing Potion. It's a 20 mana cost and a 3-second cooldown. You throw a Healing Potion on the ground that heals the first allied hero that comes in contact with it for 230. Limit to 5 active potions. Also, I know when he first came out, we had the discussion of there being confusion on potions between your team and enemy team Deckard. I don't think that was ever really in patch notes, but they did fix that. The enemy team ones are really dark now, I think.
I thought they always were.
Maybe it was. Maybe I just got used to it, but I could have sworn like it's a ton easier because I was really struggling there when it was Deckard's all the time.
I just haven't seen a lot of Deckard pair-ups anymore.
Yeah.
So it really hasn't been a huge issue. For the first few days, it was a little confusing because there could technically be 10 potions out on the battlefield
in the same lane.
in the same lane. So yeah, it was a little weird.
His W is going to be Haragic Cube, 40 cost, 14-second cooldown. Release the Haragic Cube after half a second. It explodes, dealing 80 damage to all enemies in the area, slowing them by 35% for 1.75 seconds. And then his E, Scroll of Sealing, mana cost 40, 16-second cooldown. Unfurl an enchanted scroll over 2.25 seconds, forming a triangle that deals 150 damage to enemies inside and roots them for 1.5 seconds. The heroics.
Your clock is really going today.
It is. Why is it so loud?
It's like the countdown. Mm-hmm. That seems like something Deckard would have in his study, though. So this is actually like mood. It's setting the mood. It's like, oh, the grandfather clock's going off. Time for me to take my potions. Or go slay more
bedtime
demons.
Potions. So get that NyQuil.
Pops the red NyQuil.
Yeah. No, that's for daytime. That's orange. Heroics, Lornado. 40 cost, 40-second cooldown. After 1 second, create a twirling tome tornado that travels towards the targeted direction, continually knocking away enemies that come into contact with it. And as well, of course, stay a while and listen. With a 60 cost, 70-second cooldown. After 1 second, channel for 3 seconds, putting enemy heroes in front of Deckard to sleep while channeling, and for 2 seconds after. Enemies can only be put to sleep once per cast, and the sleep's effect ends instantly if they take damage. So, of course, that has to be in there. And as we were talking about a little bit earlier, it seems that that's kind of the go-to pick, especially in coordinated play. It's not a very good thing in quick match because people just don't know how to team up with sleeps.
No, or you get everybody hit at the same time, and then it kind of becomes worthless.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we got some talents here. We got a build for you guys, and we'll probably talk about some of the other talents as well, especially kind of some of the balance stuff that happened today in the patch. TBK, level 1, what are we going to go with?
So level 1, I really like Scroll of Identify. This is a quest where hitting enemy heroes with the Scroll of Sealing reveals them for 8 seconds, and then after you hit 20 of them, Scroll of Sealing also reduces armor by 15 for 4 seconds, and the reveal duration is doubled. This is not incredibly hard to get, especially when you use your cube to do the slow first, or throw your triangle down and use the cube right afterwards to get the slowdown. You can usually catch at least 1 or 2 people in, and then as long as you're sticking with your buddy, because remember, Deckard uses the buddy system. As long as you're sticking with your buddy, the cooldown isn't too bad. So That usually works pretty well. If you're on a map where it is going to take a really long time to stack that, field study I found can be pretty good as well. And that's the one where each enemy hero hit by Scroll of Sealing grants 15% spell power for 14 seconds up to 30%. And this helps kind of everything else you do with the cube damage, with the Scroll of Sealing damage, with your extra heals for your healing potions. So that can be pretty nice in certain circumstances. And then the Sapphire actually got buffed this time around. So it's 5% more bonus slow, which I think brings the total slow up to 70% or 65%. So that's a very powerful AoE slow if you need it.
Yeah, if you're having trouble hitting those scrolls, those roots, that can help. But I would say be careful on that, because that could really easily become a comfort pick that's not really needed.
I prefer the other two.
Yeah,
most of the time, even with it getting buffed a little bit.
For sure. Because if you are landing those roots, then the slow's pretty much gone by that time anyways, so not really getting much out of it. Level 4 here's going to be kind of situational. We have Potion of Shielding. Whenever an ally is healed by a healing potion, they gain 135 shield for 6 seconds. We have Rejuvenation Potion, which healing potion restores 10 mana and heal for an additional 108 over 4 seconds. That's my favorite for the most part. And then Ruby, which I actually also like. 30-second cooldown. Activate to make the next Haragic Cube spawn 3 lesser healing potions from each enemy hero hit, healing allied heroes for 205 when picked up. Lesser healing potions last for 10 seconds. And again, you can only use 1 gem at a time. So this did get the buff. And this is another one that in those team fights, if you can hit a lot of people with your cube,
it's a lot of potions.
It's a lot of potions.
It's a lot of potions.
So I'll have to go back, because I kind of fell away from this a little bit and started going Rejuvenation. But I'm going to have to test this one out again, because I really do like it. I love the whole gym aspect too. Oh,
yeah. I agree. I do really like the Rejuve a lot, especially if my team is a mana-heavy team, like a Li Ming, a Jaina, any really mages that are mana-heavy. That can give them a nice little boost to help out any really big mana-using people, and you get a little bit extra heal out of it too, which is not bad. The Ruby, especially if the enemy is running a lot of melee, can be extremely strong, because then you can usually hit 2 or 3 of them in a row. If you hit 2 or 3 of them, that's 9 lesser healing potions on the ground.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. It's a lot of extra healing.
Level 7 DB kit.
So level 7, this one I feel like is probably the most weighted. Emerald is a little situational. That's the one where your cube reduces healing by 75% for 4 seconds for the people you hit. But I almost always default to Kanai's cube, which is Haragic Cube reduces damage dealt by 30% for 4 seconds. Like it's just almost too good to pass up.
I've never taken Emerald. The only time I've even really thought about taking it, when just kind of reading through the talents when he first came out, would have been like against a Morales. But I don't really see Morales that often, so I haven't actually really been able to try it. But it seems like it could be pretty strong against her.
I think this is the only tier where it's almost an auto pick, to be completely honest. I was surprised it didn't get changed much.
Yeah, it's such an easy thing to hit, especially, I mean, it's a huge dive comp counter. And even when it's not a dive comp, you can easily hit several people with your cube. So it's a good opener. Plus, it's not, 14-second cooldown. You can stay in with your trait and stuff, get that to be 7 seconds. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty decent. And that's a pretty big damage reduction. 30%.
It's like, Level 10, again, kind of going to be situational here. If you have comms, I even if you have comms, unless you've actually played together and you kind of have a game plan going in, I wouldn't go stay a while and listen. I'd be going with Lornado, because
it's just such a shorter cooldown.
Yeah, especially now. And it's even if it's a map that doesn't have a lot of small corridors, like against gates, I mean it almost secures kills every time if you can place them on the gate right to keep people from escaping. I love Lornado, but I mean it has been very proven that stay a while and listen is extremely strong if you're in a coordinated team that has a game plan going into that, because for uncoordinated teams, sleep is just too easy to interrupt and just make it useless.
Yeah.
Even though it's such a cool ability. So
I know. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I almost default to Lornado unless I'm in a coordinated team that I'm talking to.
And I actually didn't even think about this, but half of it saying Lornado breaks Mosh. So that's a really big thing too. So.
It's a knockback, and the fact that you don't, it's not even necessarily something that comes out from you. You can target it to come back in and push in towards you.
Yeah,
if you want to, which I have seen used to very, very strong effect.
Yeah, that's what you do like at gates and stuff. One of my favorite uses, well, not one of my favorite, but when you find yourself in situations where because Deckard doesn't have a ton of escape, you can throw potions and stuff down in front of you. But you can throw a Lornado down the way you're wanting to escape and just stay inside that thing and kind of walk and heal yourself as it's going.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love Lornado. It's a really good ability. As is stay well and listen if you're coordinated. 13, what are we going to be going with?
So Ancient Blessings was really good, especially if you did have a lot of auto attackers. Remember, it did get nerfed this patch. So this is the one where you activate your trait to empower nearby allied hero basic attacks for 8 seconds, causing them to deal additional damage in an area and heal for each hero hit. So it's still very good, especially if you have a lot of fast attacking heroes. Mm-hmm. Not quite as good with mages. But my personal favorite is the super healing potion. And this is if a healing potion isn't picked up for at least 2 seconds, it heals for 75% more. This is a massive, massive heal that you can get. But the one caveat for this is to make sure that you give your team a heads up when you pick this talent and let them know if they leave it on the ground for 2 seconds, then it'll buff up. Yeah. But especially for like setup objectives where you can get a few healing potions down early, those are massive heals. Mm-hmm. If you can get 3 or 4 of those down.
Yeah. Agreed. 16, we're going Scroll of the Stone Curse. So the Scroll of Sealing deals 200% more damage when hitting at least 2 heroes, which again, in team fights, stacked with the Herodic Cube, that's not a super hard thing to do.
Yeah. And if you went Field Study at level 1, mm-hmm. That's a huge damage that you wouldn't expect from Deckard, actually. Because if you can get 30% spell power going with a 200% damage increase if you're hitting at least 2 people, that's a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm. We also have on there, we got safety numbers where if at least 3 allied heroes are nearby, Fortitude of the Faithful grants additional 10 armor and causes Deckard's basic abilities to recharge an additional 50% faster. And
2-lane maps that can actually be really good. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, you're not going to have 3 allied heroes near.
Yeah.
Because his radius for that is not super big.
Mm-mm. It's like...
And so you have to be really careful with that talent.
I don't even know what I would compare it to. Slightly bigger than a Asmodan globe. That's a little bigger than that. I mean, or quite a bit bigger, but not huge.
Maybe slightly smaller than an Asmodan laser range.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Level 20.
Level 20. There's actually a few really good ones. If you did go some sort of a gem build, Perfect Gems is very good because it reduces the cooldown of all your gems by 25 seconds. And and the cooldown of Heraldry Cube by 5 seconds. So you can basically spam your gemmed Heraldry Cubes, which can be very strong. The aptly named Mornadoes, which Lornado's cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds every time. Every time an enemy hero is knocked back. It can only occur once every 0.5 seconds. But still, like if you can catch a few people in, especially since it got a 5% or a 5-second cooldown reduction anyway with this patch, you can get that thing down to almost nothing just hitting a few heroes.
I wonder, how long does Lornado last? I'm wondering, like, if with the max potential would be, if it would be possible to cast one Lornado while another's still up. I don't think so.
So you'd have to hit to insta cooldown. You'd have to hit 7 or 8 heroes to basically have it up again
as quick as possible.
Lornado stopped. Yeah. Or
Probably
not
not
even
likely.
hit 7 or 8 heroes. Hit heroes 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Not super likely, but even if you hit 2 to 4, that's a super short heroic cooldown.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then finally the other big one, Bottomless Flask. After use, healing potions recharge after 6 seconds. And again, this can potentially be pretty good, especially if you have a strong sieging team that will allow you, or even if you're fighting later game on a point, having strategically placed healing potions around that are just auto refilling up themselves can be pretty strong.
Yeah. That's another one. It's always good to communicate with your team when you grab that, because a lot of time people are just going to be expecting you to throw potions on them. You don't necessarily want to do that with Bottomless Flask. Like they need to know, like, hey, these are up. This is where they're going to be. Of course, in emergency situations, you can still throw another, but you want to kind of keep those positioned for the team fight. Otherwise, you're wasting it.
Yeah.
What?
the bells are tolling again.
I didn't even hear it that time. Didn't even hear it. But yeah, so it's kind of the stuff to go right now. Not too much, really. Well, not really anything changed with the balance patch today, except with the potential again of kind of Ruby being a little bit better. Maybe. I don't know. I'm excited.
Definitely better.
It's
more healing.
It's a cool ability.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, are you still digging Deckard? Are you?
Yeah, I really like him. There's a lot of nuances to him. The one thing I've really learned is make sure you're pre-seeding healing potions. Like it's not, healing potions aren't super expensive mana wise. And so if you're not throwing out and having an extra few around, especially where you're fighting, it's wasted potential. I was playing with a Deckard that barely threw potions out, or was only throwing potions out exactly onto people. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, no, get a few more out there, dude. Also remember, as you're running away as Deckard, you can alt Q yourself to just throw the healing potion directly onto you without having to target it as you're running away. So make sure you have that kind of in your back pocket. You just got to make sure that you don't want to be, and I mean, chat's even pointed out, you don't want to be spamming your scroll and cube on cooldown, because they are not mana efficient at all.
Scroll is not a wave clear.
No, it is not.
You wouldn't think so with how often you'll see people do it. It's not.
Especially when you're around your buddy and the cooldown drops down a lot lower. It can definitely be a temptation to spam, but try and remember to use it as set up when there are people who can actually act on the route or on the slow or whatever, rather than just throwing it out for extra damage. Because unless you have that extra damage talent on the scroll, you're not going to be doing that much damage with the cube and the scroll.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good points. I just want to, reaffirm the one, use your potions. If you're having issues with it, to get better, start out throwing them down with using it off cooldown, just so because the cooldown is really quick. It is something, unless you're thinking about it, it's really easy to forget. So, train yourself to overuse them, and then from there you can kind of wean back from it and find that balance. But it's really hard to ever waste a potion, because even if you're throwing them in different lanes or whatnot, the chances are somebody rotating to an objective isn't going to be at full health. They can grab that on the way, so that you're still getting that value. But yeah, he's a very well designed and
very
interesting
fun
and different support.
Yeah, I really like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a fun kit.
It's where we have so many heroes in the game now that it's, especially with supports and stuff. I imagine supports are kind of possibly the hardest heroes to design, just to make them feel so different, and they've been doing a really, really good job so far. So props to the hero design team. Any last minutes Deckard things, or?
No, I think we mentioned a lot of them.
Yep.
Making sure to get to the objective a tad early for potion setup, because that can really help your team while you're fighting on those objectives. And then, smart use of your cube and your scroll to not waste mana is a very strong thing. And then, of course, positioning for your Lornados, getting them into those little alleyways and cracks and crevices to knock people back, or strategically casting them behind the enemy to push them towards you if you push them into your gates or a tower or a keep or something.
And then also, again, buddy system. Deckard's getting old. Sometimes he loses his way. Somebody's got to be a caretaker. Okay?
Yep. Always remember the buddy system. You should never, with Deckard, be out on your own. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for it.
Just no reason. Well, unless, maybe you're rotating up a lane to throw some pots up there for the solo laner or whatnot. But never for longer than that. Never for longer than that. Let's go ahead and community content, TBK. What do you have for us this week?
Some actually really fun stuff this week. First off is the Lightning Fast Invitational presented by Tempo Storm and Heroes Hype. This is going to be a one-day tournament. I think it's a single elimination with unlimited mana and max game speed. So that's going to be really, really interesting. It's going to take place Saturday, May 19th, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, and is expected to last 3 to 5 hours. It will be broadcasted on Tempo Storm's official Twitch channel, and will be casted by Tempo Storm's own Kala, plus one additional surprise commentator who will be revealed on game day. There are 4 participating teams, and as this was an invitational, Tempo Storm, Heroes Hearth, Team Freedom, and Team Octalysis have been invited to join. It will be played on a single elimination bracket, and all 3 series will be played consecutively. Each series will be best of 5. First team to 3 victories wins the series. Once the game has begun, game speed will be set to faster, and infinite mana will be toggled on for both teams. And of course, these will be played on Cursed Hall and Volskaya, as these are the only 2 sandbox. The only 2 sandbox maps. Tempo Storm is actually contributing $2,500 to the prize pool, and will be distributing $1,500 to the first place, $500 to the second place team, and $250 to the third and the fourth place team. The community has the opportunity to make the prize pool grow. Man, all these letters all in the same row, both having problems tonight. The community will have the chance to grow the prize pool in addition to the guaranteed prize pool. And so there is a Match Arena link, and we'll have the link to this tournament page in the show notes. That looks like it'll be super fun.
Yeah,
to watch.
So I still haven't played on a faster game speed.
Have you really not?
I haven't. It's been out for so long, and I've never played a game in the sandbox mode. I've messed around with that stuff before, but I've never actually physically played a game in it.
Oh, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, which I was super excited because we did the Creators of the Storm tournament, and some of the game modes were on that, and we didn't get any of those. So
yeah, but yeah,
Rip.
that's it should be a really fun one to watch, especially with pros. Unlimited mana, like it'll be interesting to see like what the high priority heroes will be too in those drafts. Probably a lot of mana hungry heroes, I would guess, with low cooldowns.
Yep.
And then secondly, I had the opportunity to interview lead hero designer Matt Villers and hero designer Kyle Dates for Heroes Hearth, and put up a really fun article with them talking about Deckard Cain and about hero design in general. So if you haven't seen that yet, it will be linked in the show notes, or you can go to heroeshearth.com and check out my blog posts. It's decently long, so I would, and there's some really interesting stuff, especially about how they have evolved their thinking on talents and whatnot as well. So definitely go give that a read.
Yeah. Cool stuff. All right, we have time to get to some questions. If anyone in chat has any questions, we might have time to get to some of those, so let us know. All right, our first one here from first-time writer Naraki. Just kidding. He writes this a lot, and it's cool. And it's a long one, so we're going to abbreviate here a little bit, but this entire discussion is based around kind of the lore, the way it was implemented, and kind of how it was presented. So Naraki had a few issues with it here, a few problems. His first thing, he thinks it started off too small. There wasn't enough for how big of a deal kind of this lore stuff is coming to Heroes of the Storm, as well as introducing, in quotes, non-Blizzard stuff that aren't related to existing Blizzard lore. Kind of backs that with, a lot of people, including myself. One of the reasons I got into Heroes is because I knew who these characters were. I really liked a lot of them. I kind of knew what to expect when I came in the game, when I was going to play that character, instead of playing another MOBA where you don't have any connection with the characters in the game, and you don't necessarily understand or feel what they're going to feel like. And that's a thing a lot of people have had concerns on. But again, anything Blizzard makes in Nexus lore is technically Blizzard lore. So that's a thing there. And then his last thing, kind of going along with the whole small intro to our lore here, was it being released as a comic. He feels like it kind of should have been a cinematic, instead made more to be a big deal. And then as well, he would have liked to see it kind of told through the existing characters' viewpoints, instead of, this first one we got was kind of through the Ravenlord story. He thinks it would be cool if we saw it, as maybe Gul'dan or Alarak, who was involved in this first one, kind of the perspective told from them, because we have the Dark Nexus avatars, the dark avatars or whatever of them, but we don't know if they're necessarily involved. So there's a lot to dissect here, and I guess kind of to start at the top with, I'll combine the lore release being small with the comic type thing. That's the one thing I kind of, can get to where I agree on here. I loved the comic. I thought it was great. I love the Ravenlord story. But it does seem like this lore is potentially a big enough thing to where a cinematic of some sort, which we're going to get in the future, would have been a nice thing to kind of kick off the lore fest, I guess I'll call it. Of starting to learn the lore of the Nexus. I think a cinematic could have been a really cool thing for that. The comic was cool too. I love comics, kind of short, but we learned a lot. We talked and dove into that last week. If you guys haven't checked that episode out yet, and there's a lot of cool stuff there. When it comes to being told kind of through the eyes of the heroes themselves, that could be something I think we get in the future. But for the example you're using with like Gul'dan or Alarak, we don't necessarily know that they're actually involved. We don't know what those dark avatars are. We don't know if that's, Gul'dan and Alarak themselves that got this weird power. We don't know if it's separate powers that just took on the forms of those characters. So you can't really do it in that way because we just don't know. There's still a lot to be explored there. And, it's an easy concern. We talked about last week of them going too far into the new lore, stuff that's not pre-existing Blizzard things. And that's a concern you can have. But I think as long as they strike a balance, it's really cool to kind of figure out why these heroes are coming to the Nexus, this new place, why they're being sucked from their worlds. And you can't really do that with existing Blizzard lore. I don't know, TBK, if you have any other opinions when it comes to these points, or...
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a little small, but I think as long as they do small, consistent, I think it'll be fine, especially if they start rolling it out in different mediums, in-game, comics, skins, shorts, cinematics. I mean, we've already seen some of that. We saw that with Mechastorm. It just wasn't like announced that they were doing the lore type stuff yet when we got that pack. I very much expect that we will see some sort of Overwatch-esque lore cinematic for Heroes of BlizzCon. I am almost 100% sure on that. That just makes a lot of sense to me. And they've been doing kind of that same thing anyways the last two BlizzCons. So it makes sense for them to evolve that format a little bit.
Yeah. And that could be a really... Gosh, there's that stupid clock again. That could be a really cool opportunity. We talked of, again, balancing pre-existing Blizzard stuff with new Nexus stuff. That could be a cool opportunity for them to have a cinematic, to introduce new heroes to come into the game. Whether it's something like showing the new heroes actually being sucked in and how they come to be in the Nexus from whatever world they decide those heroes are coming from, while also introducing possibly, another Nexus created hero. And that could be our first, non-existing Blizzard hero to enter the game as well. If that's something we get. They've hinted at possibly, but again, not a lot of that stuff because there's so much pre-existing Blizzard stuff that they want to get into the game. And again, if you do too much, yes, people will be upset because there's a lot of heroes that they want in game that aren't in game. But I think they could do something really, really cool with that. There's some good points brought up in chat, along the lines of, possibly not wanting to, try and keeping this stuff within the existing budget that the Heroes team has. Maybe a reason why it's been kind of limited like this. And then also, this could be the amount of like little tidbits that we're going to get regularly. So just kind of setting us up for that. Not setting our expectations super high for we're getting all this stuff, and then the next time we're just getting comics and little features to read and stuff like that. So it would take a lot of assets to create a cinematic, a lot of money to do that, so they could be kind of testing the water and stuff here. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I like the idea behind a lore cinematic at BlizzCon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think, and that's the place to debut something like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want the biggest audience, you want the biggest hype. And so with cinematics, I mean, most, at least now that the stream of Overwatch cinematics has slowed down, most of them are BlizzCon debuts. So it just kind of makes sense. That's where you debut your big, expensive stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But, I understand your concerns, Naraki. I agree with some of it, but, some stuff is just... can't be told in the other ways because we don't know. We don't know what's happening in the lore yet. But it is cool
to see
stuff.
how it progresses.
Yep.
Like I'm intrigued so far, and so I'm very much on board, at least for a little while, with what they've got coming. Mm-hmm. I want to know more. It's definitely piqued my interest.
Yeah. The biggest question I think still is what's the kind of drought going to be between each thing. Maybe it'll be like 4 or 5 weeks, like with hero launches, or once a month. Who knows? We'll see.
Once a month would kind of make sense, I think, at this point.
I agree. Any other questions in chat? Doesn't look like it. Before we get out of here, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you where you can find us. Lords of the Storm, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. If you want to, you can find us on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Patreon at Lords of the Storm. You can join our in-game channel, type /join space LOTS, or join our Discord that's pinned in our Twitter, where you can go to www.bit.ly/lotsdiscord. Send us some feedback, questions to our email, lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And if you enjoy the show, or if you don't enjoy the show for some reason, one of the biggest things you can do to help us is leave us a review. iTunes, Stitcher. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like, some stuff you'd like to see. But those 5-star reviews really do help us with the way the iTunes stuff works. Helps us be more visible to those looking for Heroes of the Storm stuff. You can also find us individually, myself on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, at GizmoZord, as well as a lot of Tuesdays, most Tuesdays, on Convert to Raid Presents the Battle.net News, which is at twitch.tv/ConvertToRaid, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central. Multi can be found at Multizord, as well as his Hearthstone podcast with Ro from Realm Maintenance, called Hearth Casual. TBK, where can you be found?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord, and then, of course, on Heroes Hearth. There is Heroes Hype, too. Go check their stuff out. They got a tournament coming up. It's doing lightning things. Lightning speed. It's probably going to be pretty awesome. But Heroes Hearth, that's also a cool thing, and an esports team. I do blog posts and write for that site as well. So if you want to check out more Heroes content, go there.
Yeah. I want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Sword, for helping to support the show, as well as to all of our existing and new patrons that have come on. Again, we really do appreciate it. Huge shout out to Blizzard for giving us the Dark Nexus codes to give away. And again, we're sorry we couldn't be there for the live event last week. But we will see you all, same time, same place, next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Enough. I shall do no more.
All right.
Thankfully, all my computer